I just wanna use your love tonight. G'day guys, we're working here on Oreo today, and I'm only here for a very brief period, 20 minutes, so we're gonna make it count. And to make it count, we're jumping into the background with a few little funky Naples yellows, I think that's what we'll start with, but I usually get started and change my mind 3 or 4 times, so I just need you to love me and accept that I'm going to do that. So here we go. Joanne Brilliant with a little bit of blue. We're going to need... No, we've got enough reds in this already. If we're going to go into the Naples, let's get a little bit of cadmium yellow. And I want my Naples. I swear every time we're on a stream together, I'm always talking about adding in Naples yellow, needing Naples yellow. Hey LJ, thank you very much. Pretty exciting news, eh? Pretty exciting. I don't want to go too much into every detail right now. Just the whole thing is trying to keep the details light on mum and baby. Everything went perfectly. Everyone's healthy and happy, but you can probably see the energy coming out of me. But they're just keen to enjoy the love and stay out of the spotlight, which I totally get. Now, but as time goes by, we'll definitely start posting a bit more. Won't better help ourselves. And thanks Darren, I appreciate that. It's lovely to have you here. Cheers LJ. Okay. Pick a brush to start with. Basic colours. Do I want a bit of light white? I think I do. I really think I do. Same before though guys, it's gonna be a quick 20-minute session. So I'm going to do 20 minutes here, I'm going to pop out and do a job, and then after that, I'll probably come on back, and if the light's still okay, I'll do another round. We'll see. We will see. Hey, speaking of though, how's the sound? I've got a few cars going past, and hope you can hear the words leaving my mouth. Otherwise, we can do some clever stuff to try and fix it. But, anyway, primo. Right. Let's get this. Throw this in the middle of the work. Get the art piece everywhere, but when you put it right in the middle, it allows me to work around the outside pretty effectively. On a big brush, by the way. Hey, thanks team. I appreciate that. A lovely, happy, healthy baby girl. So there is absolutely nothing in the whole world I could ask for more than that. Very happy. Okay. And like I said, we're only here briefly, so this is going to be a 20-minute session. So I'm going to slash around some paint. See if I can't get some of this little lovely dog Oreo to appear in these Naples colours. If we get further than the yellows, that's fantastic. I can't guarantee that's going to happen, but I can guarantee that these are the exact colours we need right now to help Oreo start to appear a bit more. You'll notice the colour that we're adding is a little bit thicker. Less opaque, less transparent. It's opaque. It is opaque. It's... Rewind everything I just said. It is opaque, it's not transparent. So it's going on thick and smaller pieces to accentuate little pockets of detail, especially in these tiles. And you'll notice we aren't ruling up tiles, we're just doing little tiny dots and letting them appear. I don't know how anyone who drives a motorbike can hear anything after they've driven around for 8 hours. I work with a chainsaw for 2 or 3 hours and I can't hear a thing. Even with headphones on, it just shakes you around. I assume a bike works in the same way. People still love them though, so there's that. Oh, Tonya? I like this one too. I think there's a real character in the face that the paint's managed to capture. I feel like I feel like it's a nice catch there. There's more work to do on the eyes, but I feel like this part through here, and it's wild, chaotic paint, and I know I say that a lot, I feel like you could reach out and just pat the dog or like, you know, interact with Oreo. There's that personality in the picture. So background, a beautiful face, and then I want to get Oreo's coat coming through here because it's a lovely metallic blue with some white patches coat. It's a really fun coat to paint. Thank you, someone else on my team. I can't believe motorcyclists don't go dead. How is this? Like just the sheer vibrations going through the actual bike into you. Surely it has an impact. Apparently it doesn't seem to, but surely. How do you know when a painting's done? And when to stop adding paint? Okay, so the reason why, because I answer this question a lot, but the question's not answered. So what that will tell you is that the answer is actually, for every person, a little bit different. And if I told you what makes a painting finished, that only tells you when a painting's finished for me. It won't tell you for another artist, it won't tell you for Pollock, for Van Gogh, or for you. It'll be a very specific answer. So from that, you can use that to help you understand yourself better. But there is nothing I can say that will actually be synonymous with what will help you understand what finishes a painting for you. On that note though, I started painting with intentions in place, with the idea I want to capture something very specific, and when we get that thing, when it's captured, that's when I stop. And so I check for that in between layers. In this case, I want Oreo. I want to capture Oreo's character in this picture, and I want wild, chaotic paint splashed around, a kaleidoscope of hues that centralize themselves back to the green palette, and then I want to capture that love, innocence, joy, and companionship of dogs. And between each layer, we look for those things. When we see it, we stop. Sometimes we'll see 2 of them, but not the 3rd, 3, not the 4th, 1, not the 2nd. Then we just keep going and navigating, building, until we see all of them, and then we're done. Not a moment sooner, and not a moment later. But that same method's very different per person. So, helps me, may not help you. And hey Justin, how are we doing? And thanks RC, I appreciate that. It's been a wild ride this last week. And there's been a few people wondering where I've been, so it's pretty fun to be back. To be fair, it's pretty fun to be back. Here we go. Here we are. Josie's on a vacation far away. We're painting this puppy. We're painting Oreo. Oreo was a dog rescued in Singapore. In this photo, Oreo was 1 month old. And we're capturing Oreo for Justin. And you'll notice a lot of greens in the picture. We're spotting those by noticing the tones in the actual image and then manipulating the hues to get this slightly augmented image. But the reason why we're doing that is it'll help it fit in better to the environment in which the painting is going. And that's why I make a point a lot of the time of actually saying, show me your home, show me your space, show me where the painting's going or where you think it might go. Because what I will do... Different Justin? Oh, sorry, Justin. Well, good to have you here, mate. Because we might be able to change certain things like the colour palette or the composition to match your space. Some people have, like, say, their living room adheres to rules of thirds or maybe quarters or maybe large, bold colours. And so we can, without completely altering and dismantling the creative process, we can lean into a few of these elements as we make the work. And in this case here, we need a tealy, muted, subtle green to come into the picture. And if we achieve that, it'll match into Justin's space beautifully. That's the plan anyway. That is the plan. Hey, cheers, Justin. I appreciate that. It's, I'll tell you what, one thing over the last 3 or 4 months, I've really enjoyed all the posts that have been made. And the reason I've really enjoyed them is I felt like the feedback and the community in the comment section, it's magnetic. It's vitalizing. Like I've had some really good discussions with a few people, both on threads that are positive and actually negative. You know, it's not always someone who says, I love the art, that helps you grow. Sometimes I had a conversation recently actually with someone when I was painting out in the water who said, this is ridiculous, I don't like it, it feels like this, like that, I wish you hadn't done it. And we had a really good conversation. We talked about us saying that actually when you lean into the chaos of things, not the most efficient way to make a piece of art, but necessary to explore different methods. And by the end of our conversation, I'd actually convinced him. I'd won him over. He actually said, you know what, I've changed my mind. I like this now. And that's important. Just because you've got opinions on art doesn't mean you're not allowed to change them. Like, my own opinions on my work and other people's alters on an almost bi-monthly basis. Things that I love, I'll stop loving. Things that I dislike, suddenly I'll find reasons and ways to like them. And your wants, tastes, and life and art are really no different from that. That's okay. Well, Justin, it's an absolute pleasure to be here and doing that for you. I'm in arguably the best mood I've been in my entire life. That will maintain in perpetuity. And I'm glad that I can be here making Oreo and sharing this moment with you. That's a treat for me. And I hope that once we finish this stream, so we're only here briefly, once we finish, you roll over, get yourself a good night's sleep. Don't just keep on doom scrolling the night away. Luckily Shelby pulls me up on it and says, Sev, stop doom scrolling, bedtime. And sometimes I can't resist the addiction of doing it, and so having someone there with you who can say, put the phone down, I feel like I'm good at handling things like addiction. I feel like I can release things easily, but I need a Shelby in my life who actually helps me notice when that addiction's appearing, because although I can release from addiction easily, I can't notice it easily. And so someone who can say, hey, put it down, attention here, sleep time. These are things that it doesn't have to be a loved one. It doesn't have to be a loved one. It can be a friend. Friends can do that for us. Hey, you're drinking too much. Hey, you're smoking too much. Hey, you're not spending enough time with me. You need to spend more time with your best friend. Hey, you're not going outside enough. It's not always negative. Sometimes they'll give you the best compliments, but definitely feel like, aside from just being someone in your life that gives you good feedback, close friends and loved ones are people in your life that can also give you that negative feedback that you can actually respect. Because a stranger coming to you and firing negative feedback isn't always constructive, and the natural reply that's relevant is, you don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know my trials and my tribulations. How could a stranger's feedback cause me to make massive change in my life? Well, the whole thing changes when you start talking about people you love. When your parents, if you've got a great relationship with your parents, when your partner, if your partner's close to you, when your close friends and colleagues, if they come to you and say, hey, here's some negative feedback, that's something that you can actually take on board, respect, chew, and consider. I'm not saying you have to take it to heart and let it break you, but it can actually be something that, in the myriad of people with opinions, you can take that one that's actually against you and you can actually consider it and allow it to grow or change you. And I get negative feedback sometimes from my loved ones and family members. Mostly positive, but sometimes it is things like, hey, you do too much of this. You get too hung up on that. You need to consider this more. You've dropped this ball. And those are conversations usually in private from lovely people who want to say it in a respectful manner. And that's so important. It's not normally someone firing off something in the comment section of Instagram, but sometimes it is. Sometimes you can actually engage with that and it's meaningful. And Steve, thank you so much. Lovely to have you here. And I hope you've heard the news. I hope you've heard the news. So, quite exciting. Hey Jenny, reason why I'm in Florida, struggle with addiction. I got help and you're sober now. That's fantastic, Justin. Congratulations. Congratulations. It's a hard one. I feel like the idea of addiction and addiction in everyday lives, when we hear addiction, I think a lot of us immediately think heroin, cocaine. Very few of us, when we hear addiction, do we think of, now we do. We think of alcohol and we think of cigarettes. But for me, addictions I really struggle with is I struggle with caffeine. I love coffee. I love it to bits. And if left to my own devices, I push that boat out too far. And I struggle with social media. It's addictive. I doom scroll. Now, I'm not saying that that's a serious addiction, but I do. I'll lose 2 to 3 hours in an evening doom scrolling, achieving nothing, not interacting on an interpersonal level with family members or loved ones, not growing my career or my business, just eating up content and satisfying an algorithm to show me ads of things that actually mean nothing to me. Social media can be so beautiful, but sometimes it can be so hurtful and damaging. And if it's taking away 3 hours of sleep every night, how does that shorten your life? How does that affect your well-being? How does it affect your mental health? It's dramatic. So it's not on par with it's unfair to say different. I think it depends on the person and how you actually interact with the addiction, definitely. But everyone has their poison. Everyone has their poison. Sarah sees a dog now. That's good, Sarah. It's subtle. It's subtle and it's cheeky. Probably because the picture's in the middle too. But there's a dog. Here we are. And Steve. Yeah, so Steve, if you go on Instagram, I made a post about it, but My life has now been enriched by a wonderful, gorgeous, healthy baby girl. And I couldn't be more excited and more happy. And I talk more about it in terms of everyone involved. And I talk more about it in terms of what that means artistically going forward. Family level, love level, me level, baby level, career level, art level, all on Instagram. Everything's there. Sugar isn't an addiction. It's a considerable amount of different things. Mine is alcohol. Sugar is an addiction, sorry. I was about to correct you on that one, but I just read it wrong. Sugar is too. And like I say, everyone has their poison. I struggle if you said don't have caffeine for a month. Symptoms or signs of addiction appear in how I speak. So if you told me don't have caffeine for a month, I'd be like, what's the point? I don't need to do that. I could to prove a point, but I don't need to. Sounds inconvenient. It'd be unpleasurable, but I don't need caffeine. I don't need caffeine, I'm fine. This is not the way I'd say it, but this is my reaction to that style of thing. I'll find excuses and reasons not to acknowledge my dependency, but actually to, and also manage to avoid anything that would actually take away that dependency. So yeah, I'm very, very, hard to say addicted to caffeine. You know, I almost want to say connected with caffeine. Again, problem. Anyway, there are also things you can learn from social media, such as Microsoft Yes. And social media during the over the last 7 days with my family allowed us to be more connected than ever before in terms of when a new life comes in and a family's formed, to be able to talk about it and all be there together, even though we're in different places on planet Earth. It's social media gets a bad rap. But at the same time, like this, what's happening right here and now, this isn't doom scrolling, this isn't negative anxiety creating blah. It's wholesome, it's connectivity, it's us here together in a moment making art. It's very human, it's raw, it's real. And so I don't believe all social media is to blame. I think, like anything, there's the positive side and there's the negative underbelly. And to say anything's purely positive would be a lie. I think no matter what you look at, there's positive and negative. And I feel like, especially in recent years, although the negative may have grown, the positive is humongous. The ability to connect, to reach people who are alone, to reach people who are isolated, to figure out who you are in certain ways has become more possible on social media than ever before. So, pretty special. It's pretty special. I've certainly managed to find and become part of, that is a noisy van, to become part of a community that I wouldn't have been able to reach if social media or the internet didn't exist. So I found love, connection, and a home on social media. I've met people, I've connected with people, I've learned from, grown from, and helped people. There's been this two-way street. Things that I can give and then things that I receive from other people. And I feel like we don't talk about that much. We always hear about the negative side of it. And there is this very, very beautiful, real, powerful side that I feel like if we can just harness it, it would outweigh any negativity that could come out of socials. It would just supercharge it. Enough of the clickbaity, attention-grabbing negativity and more of the beautiful, real people trying to connect with other people around the world in real time. I feel like that's why every platform simultaneously developed live streaming. I saw YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Bigu, Twitch. Everyone did it in the same 10-year period. And like, yeah, I know technology develops, but it happened kind of fast. It was kind of cool, and I feel like more than videos, like I feel like flicking through Reels now feels like America's Funniest Home Videos, just whenever you want it, right there in front of you. But I feel like if you use your phone to do live, it's different from America's Funniest Home Videos. You're there in the flesh, you're in the moment, you're sharing it with someone else. That's so valuable, so potent. And if you're isolated, if you're somewhere out there in the world where you aren't surrounded by loved ones and friends, sharing a moment live through pixels with other people, that's so valuable. That's connection, that's human. Not Patrick's brother, but I see where you get the idea. There's a few gals in New Zealand, and they're not all related to Patrick Gow. Sadly. Cheers, Justin. Actually, well, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. That connection, that recognizing, that acknowledgement, that being seen and seeing. That is a loud bike. Here they come. Man. That's it, guys. Man, I wish I was that cool. Sorry, to finish that thought off, it's the... I feel like we scroll a lot on social media, but to actually be seen. Like, Justin, I feel like when you come in here, you're not just watching. There's an element of you that's actually here and being seen. You acknowledge that you exist, that you're on this journey with us, and that's kind of special. I think that's where live, as opposed to reels, really come into its own. Long time no see. I see you having tons of green, even though you said you hate using green. Newly. No. Hate using green. Hate's a strong word. I said typically I arc towards the pinks and the blues because these are colours we don't often see in nature, and nature is so beautiful that I find it the most incomparable opponent to compete with. I feel like everything I make stands second to the beauty of Mother Nature, but Mother Nature doesn't have a whole lot of pink or a whole lot of blue, and so when I make art with these colours, I can not compete with Mother Nature, but open up facets and avenues and ideas that maybe haven't been as explored in Mother Nature. In this painting's case, its space actually has this beautiful muted tealish green on the walls that the painting needs to match into. So we're exploring it. I hope that explains it. Yeah. Because I'd hate to ever make landscapes and portraits and pictures of flowers that tried to mimic Mother Nature, because the sheer beauty of trees and flowers and plants is that no matter how good your painting gets, it'll lack that life that a real living plant has. I mean, I'm just looking at some plants around me at the moment. Look at this. Look at this. I'm going to bring it over here. Look at that. Study that up close. And tell me, there is no one on the face of this planet, no one, that through paint could make this plant more beautiful. So we could explore that plant by adding in other hues, our pinks and our blues, and embellishing this additional colour spectrum that nature can't have, or doesn't have in this case. But to compete with that plant, with the colour green alone, you're going to lose. Nature's too beautiful, it's too strong, too vivid and wonderful. So I'll stop being a fanboy for nature, but seriously, if you ever doubt it, search on your phone, just on Google, and look up beautiful flower, and you'll see that they all look fake. They all look fake because these photos of flowers are just too beautiful. How can that exist in reality? And so your brain doesn't form that connection. But if you go to someone's house or to one of those lovely floral places that sells dahlias, to see a dahlia, not just a stem cut out in a shop, but a dahlia growing, living, to see that in the flesh, it'll just show you the sheer power and beauty of nature, that how it can create the most incredible symmetry, tonal change, this semi, but not quite, but this Fibonacci sequence arcing out of a blooming flower. I'll shut up about that, but I swear, it's a potent thing. I don't know when or why I got so excited by nature, but I don't mean right now, I mean in life in general. I don't know when that happened, but it has happened, and I have a deep love. I have a deep love for the colour green. And the only reason I avoid it is I'm afraid. I'm afraid of that competition. I'm afraid of how beautiful nature gets. I'm afraid that whenever I use the colour green, I'll resent it. That I didn't mimic the world around me and how disgustingly beautiful it is. So there, sorry. Going back to the start, that's why I'll typically swap green hues out for blue hues to explore a colour palette. Because I can do that. Nature can't just do that on a whim. A chameleon could, but nature can't at the drop of a hat, not straight away. Coming on up here, sorry guys. Definitely the stream is more interactive and conversations that have meaning. Cheers, Kamar. I appreciate that. That's the idea. This is supposed to be a place where you can be yourself, but also I can be myself. I made myself a promise when I first started coming on social media that if I was gonna put myself out there, put the art out there, and try and improve the world, or try and be happy, or try and share some vitality and joy, that I wouldn't be fake, that I wouldn't allow it to change me, that I would be the raw, weird, crazy version of me that I am at home, that I am in a bar, that I am in wherever I go. and I feel like I have changed on the journey, but I don't feel like it was in a negative way. I feel like I've been vitalized or encouraged to do more things to help. I never knew I'd donate so much to charity through art. That's been phenomenal. A lot of artworks, a portion of most artworks go to charity. And I never knew that I would be able to explore such a vibrant, crazy colour palette. I don't know, things changed. I didn't realise how much I loved colour until, it's a funny one actually, I always played with colour and loved saturated colour. But then when I made a painting for someone, I'd tone it back. I was afraid. Kind of like how when you enter a conversation with someone, you tone back who you are because you're afraid that if they don't like you and you be the real you, then that's definitely them not liking the real you, and you should be ashamed to be who you are. And so you put on a fake face, and then if people don't like you, it doesn't bother you because you didn't even show them the real you in the first place, so how could they actually not like you? And it safeguards you, it puts up this shield and this barrier. I did that with art for a very, very long time. And then when I actually allowed myself to put art out there and realised that actually it's okay if they hate it, they hate it. But you are you and you can't change you. That's when I found this sort of a style and how I do things. And suddenly this giant weight got lifted, because I then realised that all people ever wanted to see, it had nothing to do with who I thought everyone wanted to see. It had everything to do with people, actually, because people are smart, they're perceptive. People can actually perceive that, okay, that's a person being their real, authentic self. And if you do that, even if it's not the kind of person that they like, they feed off that and become more of themselves. And the two of you have this connection because you're both actually allowing each other to be the real versions of yourselves, coexisting. And I'm going in a rabbit hole here, but basically remove the mask, drop the shield, and if you can find the courage to do that, you'll find your people and you'll find your way in a way that will just relieve this immense weight from your shoulders. I carried around through high school and university this giant weight on my shoulders that if anyone knew who I truly was, they'd think it was ugly and they wouldn't like me. And so my art changed around this. I changed around this. I put on my little puppet mask and I tried to be what everyone wanted to see. And my art was terrible because of it. It was realistic and you could just see when you look at this art now and it's free and loose and colourful. You look at the old pictures and they're choked and they're trying to be realism to make people happy, but also dabbling in impressionism, and every colour goes on but nervously. There's no big strokes, there's no tenacity or spontaneity in them. They're all scared. Every stroke is scared. And so it's fun to look at work now and then they're all free and loose and expressive. Sorry guys, I need to catch up with some comments here. Been a bit silly. Oh god. Oh god. Hey Nikki. I'd love to have you in here, Nikki. You're an absolute champion. Laura, welcome on in there. Sergio, you're a champion. Aaron, thank you so much. I couldn't be more excited and vitalised. It's the greatest thing ever. Yeah, Asmundo, I can see it a little bit. Honestly, I hate this. I feel like I like clean shaven. I like clean shaven because you can have a beard, but my one doesn't come in the full way anyway. And if I'm clean shaven, it's one of those things where I feel like I'm showing myself, it's going to sound weird, but more respect. I don't feel shaggy. Kind of looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo actually when it comes in, but when I come to the artwork, I like to present myself to it and feel the part. And if I let my beard get out of control, it's a little bit like, hey, I don't respect this art or myself enough to actually present ready to go. Now, this is okay, but as soon as this gets another day on it, it's gone across that line and it has to go. Andy, yes. Ashy, thank you so much. It's the greatest news of all time. I'm so happy. Where's the blue shorts with Hawaiian flowers? They're somewhere, but we've got these ones today. Set of keys in the pocket, actually. I concur watching you paint over the years. Cheers, Loki. I appreciate that. Discount shopper, good to have you in here. Now, I gotta warn you guys, I do need to disappear soon, so if I abruptly run off, not because of what anyone said or nothing like that, it's just I've got to be somewhere. Not just yet. Alicia, of course I am. Of course I am. I hope you're feeling well too. There's a big old world out there and there's a lot going on in it. And I feel like we forget that. You know, I go down to the beach every day and I walk along it and I see upwards of 200 people on the beach. And out of those 200 people, some people are going through really important life milestones. They're changing jobs, they've gained a family member, they've lost a family member, they've fallen in love or out of love. And when you walk down the beach, everyone's just walking. And yeah, so it's usually not just a bunch of blank faces. Sometimes behind blank eyes there's big stuff going on. behind my eyes right now, there's big stuff going on. I'm so excited to bring a life to the face of this planet, and it is without a doubt the most the biggest fuel injection my art's ever got, the biggest fuel injection it's ever got, and the biggest amount of purpose I've ever felt when you ask yourself, why would you do something? And I realised that actually, with a daughter in the picture, it becomes wholly essential, because through art I can show her that it's okay for her to pursue her dreams regardless of how crazy and ridiculous they may seem. It's okay for her to go after things that make her truly happy, that she thinks makes a difference. And on top of that, the idea that now in this world exists something bigger than myself, that there's something that I'll always put in front of me, suddenly the way in which I approach art's entirely different. Every stroke lands a little bit different. So it's going to be exciting to actually, as a team, compare pre-fatherhood and post-fatherhood and look at the art. And I think what will actually happen, guys, I think what's likely to happen is there'll be people who like pre-fatherhood Sebastian and the art, who may feel differently about post, and vice versa. Not that you need to go from like to dislike. It may be as simple as saying, I liked pre-fatherhood, I now love post. Present. I should say present, not post. Mike. Sorry, Mike, I missed your comment there. Mike, these are acrylics, but I'm combining them with a huge, absolutely titanic amount of medium. So they seem to land like oils. So if you're seeing that buttery nature of oils and that saturation of oils, that's from some clever footwork with acrylics. So no acrylic that's landing on the canvas is actually raw acrylic. I've spliced it, I've mixed it, I've alternated and changed it. So it's part of the fun. Part of the fun. Thanks, Alicia, I appreciate that. And Laura. Cheers, Jamie. Cheers, Lindsay. Well, we have got an absolutely lovely crew in today. But I think that's what happens too with dog pictures, honestly. I think when we see a dog, there's less responsibility on me to imbue this kind of a picture with love. All I have to do is capture the abundant love that the dog already comes into this expressing. It's less of a create and more of a capture. And I like that. Rosie's on a vacation far away. Sit up and talk it over. So many things that I wanna say. Knowing like the girl's a little bit older. I just wanna use your love tonight. I don't wanna lose your love tonight. Rosie's on a vacation far away. Take it over. So many things that I wanna say. Just a little bit older. Waylon, I'm doing very well. Thanks for joining in, Waylon. Have I done a husky painting before? I have done one husky. It's with Greg. So I made Greg two portraits, two dog paintings, one husky and one beautiful dog called Cassie. It was an absolute pleasure. Huskies are fun because they're beautiful coats, so a lot of fun to do with a husky. My son is the best thing that ever happened to me. I love him more than anything. See, Steve, that's fatherhood. That's the beauty of it. That's the thing. Once you've been, that's what all my role models and everyone tells you, that it's the greatest journey you can go on. And I understand that these things aren't always for everyone, but everyone's advice is different. And I heard someone say, if you don't want what someone's got, how's the phrase go? If you don't want what someone's got, something about listening to advice, but the people you love, if they give you advice and they're living a life that you want to live, that's good advice. But if you're getting advice from someone who's not living a life or not valuing the same things that you value, maybe that advice is not as important for you. Maybe you need to look elsewhere. Let me just check the time here, team. Josie's on a vacation far away. So we've got a few more minutes here. A few more minutes tonight. Josie's on a vacation far away. I bet up and talk it over. So many things that I want to say. Like my girl's a little bit older. I just want to use your love tonight. We're back on the blues. I literally can't help myself every time. I don't think I've ever done a layer on a painting without coming back to the blues. Just sincerely, deeply, cannot help myself. We were talking about addiction before. Add blue to my list. Waylon. Finn is my second husky. He's so sweet and affectionate, but he's still a typical husky and chatty. You know, I love husky videos on Instagram when I'm doom scrolling. I love watching huskies singing back and just doing their thing. It's always fantastic. Yeah, Laura, that's what dogs will do. I feel like, I don't want to say a dog's purpose, but I feel like dogs do enrich our lives with a joy and a happiness which is severely unparalleled. I feel like actually if you take this an extra step, if you did a test, you could probably psychologically test people and work out more accurately than not who was a dog owner and who wasn't, and probably done of people's I don't know, I just feel like a dog would enrich your life in such a way that actually you'd be able to measure who owned pets. I should say pets rather than dogs. I think people who own pets see the world in a different way, treat animals in a different way, and actually I would definitely argue people with pets are more happy. I feel like I think that's a truth. And you might think, no. But I just feel like, I'm not saying that I've noticed that as a case, people who own pets, but I will say that how could a dog not enrich your life or make you happier? And I've never seen anyone who owns a dog who hasn't had their life enriched by the dog. And if that's the case, surely by owning a dog you become happier. And if you're always happier, that would be measurable. So that would be fact, maybe. I'm just guessing, but I feel like that's the case. Amco, let's get onto that shortly. And know too well you've created two. Yes, Steve. Indeed, and that's part of the fun, it's part of the potency, to actually like those paintings with Oreo here, it's not just a dog, it's Oreo. It's 1 month old. It was rescued in Singapore. It means so much to Justin. It's made Justin a better person. With that whole narrative, that changes my approach to the painting. Suddenly, I can get my creative craft, art, process, whatever you want to call it, and feed almost, what's the word here, parasitically, off the inspiration and the enthusiasm that Justin has to see Oreo in wild, crazy colour. That's beautiful. And so, while Justin brings this amazing inspiration and joy and love for Oreo to the page, I just combine that with what I do, my crazy, wild, chaotic, raw, emotional style. We mix that giant cake batter together and fire it onto the canvas. And this is essentially what we get. That's part of the fun behind it. And going back to Amco's comment, that is a great question. That is a great question. It is usually like this. And the reason I'm usually like this is I think you can't always be like this. I think we all go through ups and downs. I don't think life is a permanent charging at happiness. I think you go in waves. Happiness is a state amongst a series of states, and we fluctuate through all of them. But I think I spent a lot of my life, especially my younger teenage years and 20s, trying to pretend I was someone else and exhausting myself doing it. And so when you actually let go of these shackles that no one's put them on you, you put them on yourself. I put them on me. I allowed myself to be constrained by my own hand to become someone that I thought everyone wanted to see. And once you can release that, think of how much energy you're going to get to be the version of you when you're not trying to be someone you think you need to be. There's less dance, there's less thinking, there's less confusion and smoky mirrors and self-gaslighting. We talk a lot about someone gaslighted me, they gaslighted them, they gaslighted them. No one's talking about gaslighting yourself. How many of us are lying to ourselves about who we actually think we are, rather than actually sitting down, understanding ourselves, and then pursuing happiness for the person we actually are, not pursuing happiness for someone that we want to be or think that we should be. You know, this is dangerous. There's a book, 8 Wishes of the Dying or something, where a lady went into a home where people are dying and asked them their biggest regret. And it's always that they didn't be the real version of themselves. They didn't allow themselves to live authentically. They stopped caring so much about what everyone else wanted them to be and just enjoyed the moment and existed. We don't let ourselves do that. We allow ourselves to be shackled. And no one in that home said that they felt like someone else stopped them from being themselves. No child, no partner, no parents, no friends, no workplace. None of this stopped them. They put shackles on themselves to stop themselves. Nothing stops you in this current moment from deciding to be just you, without the smoke and mirrors. To like what you like, to want what you want and love what you love. And yet we would put those constraints on ourselves. You're going to do that till the day you die? Are you going to run out of energy indefinitely until you're 80 years old, wishing you hadn't spent the last 75 conscious years just not being you? Sounds exhausting. Sounds yuck. I reckon you'd trade all 80 years for 1 year being who you really wanted to be. You'd see that as a fair trade. Well, if that's true and you'd agree with that, then you can do that right now. It's not an immediate change, but you can advocate to decide that not anyone else, not your boss, not your partner, not your kids, not your parents, not that I'm going to stop making them hold me back. They're toxic, they're this, they're that. No, they're none of those things. They're people living their own lives on their own journey, and you're intertwined with them, but they're not you. Make a decision today to actually start looking after yourself, to start actually, this isn't self-love, do this, do that, mental health, mental health routine. This is what I do for me, blah, blah. This is just you, not just trying to find a way to be happy, but finding out a way to be you when you're happy, excited, sad, agitated, tired. Who are you? And once you understand that, and I mean understand it, with understanding, I always find when I actually understand someone, I end up loving them. I can't help it. When you understand art, you fall in love with that piece of art. Once you form that connection with it, it's contagious, it gets you. So what's going to happen? You figure out, you understand yourself. Once you do that, you're going to fall in love with yourself. Fact. And once you're in love with yourself, you're just going to enjoy each day a little bit more. You won't wake up with so much resentment. Resentment for what you're doing. Oh, Rob, lifelong Eagle Scout. Well, Rob, is that the opinion of every Eagle Scout, or just the opinion of Rob? I appreciate that opinion. You know what, Rob? One thing's more important than anything. Is that you be you. So I'm glad you're here. I completely agree. It's fur. The fur baby. I love that. Lived a full and happy life. He was my buddy for 14. That's cool, Waylon. Buddy for 14 years. Yeah. That's special. I think I know a lot of families buy a dog in line with a child, and so sometimes that dog lives with that child for a 15-year, 14-year period. And you get new dogs through life, but you never replace a dog, but you get new dogs. And I feel like the dog, not its only reason for existing, but a big marker that it does for a child is it gives it its first taste of loss, because it forms a connection and falls in love with the baby falls in love with the dog. Then at the age of 15, the child, the teenager, experiences loss, and it's so tragic, but it's also so healthy, especially at a young age, to wrap your head around something like that. Hey guys, I would have disappeared now, but it's been an absolute pleasure. We've had some fun here. Rob, I know you wanted to see more painting, but I got myself tied up on a whole philosophy, psychology thread, and went on a tangent. So that's just what happens sometimes. Sorry about that. But painting's looking fun. Soft colours added. The greens are popping. Love that. Dog's looking great. Loving this chest here. More work to go. We'll probably dive into it tonight or tomorrow. We will see. Cheers, Jake and Laura. Glad I could be here. And like I was saying earlier, if you're laying in bed right now and after I quit this, don't go doom scrolling. Don't do what I do. Just get some sleep. Relax. Good night's sleep will make tomorrow so much better. That is fantastic, Steve. I love that. Alright guys, look after yourselves and I will catch you later. Bye now.